This is Morten from INKISH TV, and we are still here at the Bobst Open House in Alpharetta in Georgia. David Zwang.
Morten, it's always good to see you,
Good to
my
see
friend.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have so many hats that I don't know where to start. But let's start with the analyst hat, just for a moment.
Absolutely.
When you look at the technology that we have seen here today,
yep.
What comes to mind?
Well, I think it's you know, when you look at in this case labels and/or flexible packaging, but labels in particular, because that's really where they're starting here. I mean, the technology itself is great. I've looked at this at the core technology now for quite a few years as they've been developing it, and I think it's important, and it's important for a number of reasons. First of all, up until now, most of the label, short-run label especially, have been produced by electrophotographic methods, right? It's either liquid electric photography,
yes,
HP,
the HP,
or the
Zycon,
or the Zycon, and some kind of Minolta, but basically the two biggies are HP and Zycon.
And HP by far the biggest, right?
Yeah, well, but they started about the same time in terms of doing labels, and they are what has enabled the growth of digital. But now, you know, we've got Inkjet, and all of a sudden you're going to start to see Inkjet begin to compete. It's already starting to compete with the electrophotographic technologies. You know, is it going to make a big difference in terms of the adoption away and pull it away from Flexo? You know, Flexo is still, you know, if you look at the market. Digital, from a value perspective, you know, how much money are we actually getting in terms of labels per square meter, whatever. It's getting very close to what Flexo is. However, if you look at volume, digital is this big.
But still, I was just thinking, because I think I read somewhere, I can't remember when and why, but it was something that if you look at the adoption of digital, actually label has been one of the fastest adopters of digital technology, right?
Well, fast if you consider that it's almost 15 years. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, when
so I guess it's relative.
But I mean, when we look at corrugated, if you look at folding carton, and if you look at commercial, I mean, commercial has of course been there for a long time, but if you look at corrugated, that's only now really getting started now.
Well, because again, you know, even if you look at digital print, okay, originally introduced 1991, 92, did it really have an impact? It took the same thing. It took almost 10, 15 years before it started to settle in. And you know, for a number of reasons, you know, part of it's technology, part of it's big part of it is also people. You know, technology now, the technologies feed off of each other, like in the case of Bobst, right? So
and if you, sorry to interrupt, but if you think of it for a second, a company like Bobst that has served both the flexible packaging and also analog labels and things like that for a long time, together with a few other companies that are really like Mike Andes and, you know, Gallus. I mean, you know, the big players in this game. Yeah. I mean, why should you take away a market that works fine? I mean, basically now is adoption where the speed. I mean, if you look at the DM340, the speed is 100 meters per minute in digital, and in I said quite good quality, right? So now it's like the technology is now getting up to where you want it to be to have relevance, right?
Oh yeah, the technology is not the issue anymore for that, and that's you know, we saw it in the same thing in digital. Inkjet for commercial and for commercial print. We're seeing the same thing. You look at the quality of it, and it used to be, you know, we needed to match offset when digital first came out, when toner first came out. And then they, not only did they match offset, they were able to supersede it in many cases. And now we saw the same thing now with Inkjet. When it was the last Hunkler event, I was sitting around.
And we soon have one again.
Yes. But we were sitting around, I don't know, I think I was talking to Marco Bohr, and we're looking and you know, we're looking at the output, and this is 3 years ago, I guess. We're going, yeah, it's here. Quality that's not part of the discussion anymore.
Yeah, definitely. So it's funny to see, because then we have the private labels, the versionalization, the personalization, the short runs. I mean, there's a lot of trends that drives in that direction. Let me just ask you a different topic, because I mean, I mentioned the many hats you have. You also Ghent Work Group.
Yeah.
Ghent Work Group. masters of PDFs, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. We've been almost 20 years now.
Yeah. So if you look at the label market in that perspective, how has PDFs developed? I know just short, of course, but I mean, how has that developed in supporting?
PDF is in anything that has to do with print now. PDF is the exchange format. PDF is the exchange format. PDF is not a design format, it's an exchange format. Yeah. You know, for labels and packaging, people are going to use vector art, so it's going to be Illustrator or something like that, maybe some raster art. But if you want to exchange files for production, it's going to be PDF. I can't put a
Word document on this one.
I can't put a Word document on this. I can't put even an Illustrator document on that.
That would probably not work so well, right?
It would not work at all, right.
Okay, another role, consultant. You say that you're working a lot with consultants and on workflow automation. That's also been part of your professional life.
Big part of my professional life is developing, architecting and developing automation and production automation and optimization systems.
Is this also within this space, or is it?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah, no, packaging, commercial print, book production, yeah, absolutely. You know what, Morten, it's really about processes, and I don't care whether you're making boxes or you're making labels or you're making a brochure.
Yeah, but the processes are similar,
are processes,
right?
So maybe there's some of it is different, but 80% of it is the same.
Yeah. Okay, next hat. You also work with Marco Boer on standardization. How is that also something that applies to the label industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we looked at not just labels, packaging, flexible packaging.
I know it was the entire span, but I'm just trying, because I think that what is interesting is that you have coped to be involved in all the most exciting projects you can find, right?
I'm getting old, so it's
it's only time, you mean?
Yeah, it's just time. So it's just that I've been paying attention and I want to keep busy. So
when I meet you in 20 years old and I go with a stock, you would just still be like, yeah, I just even more experience, right?
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah, absolutely.
One of the hats that we didn't talk about, WhatTheyThink, is I think you're senior writer for WhatTheyThink, right?
Yeah, I know what my official title is. I think I'm the label and packaging editor.
Okay.
But I write on other things too.
So obviously this has something to do also with your work with WhatTheyThink, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I saw some of the things you did from Label Expo in Chicago. That was interesting, because that was like the first real big show in America since the pandemic. And there was no Flexo machines, there was only digital machines or hybrid machines, right?
There was one hybrid machine, I think it was Mark Andy, and the rest were all digital. There was Flexo technology, but the technology itself was used mostly for finishing. Yeah. So it was ABG and some of the others that were just using for finishing.
So when you work for like a media like WhatTheyThink, of course the reach of getting into the American public is of course vast, because you are one of the major trade media in the industry. How important is it to cover things like this from a media perspective?
Well, I think it's important. It's important for me. It's important for me because I learn when I come. And
I can see, because you asked, first thing was like, I heard you saying was like, okay, this is UV. Do they also come with a water-based system?
When they first introduced the technology 6 years ago, whatever it was, they said, yeah, and water-based, it was
But it's only 6 years ago, right?
Whatever, right, exactly. And that's why I said, so, it takes a while, and that's fine. I don't hold it against them, I'm just curious.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, that's a learning experience. And I think that, I don't know if you've seen that, but sometimes I've written that what I like most about being in a media is basically all the opportunities you have to learn from so many clever people, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, no, so I think, for WhatTheyThink, it's important because their readers they can't get all the readers. I mean, they have tens of thousands of readers. They can't all come here to Alpharetta. So I try to communicate the more important issues and facts and things, so that if it grabs their interest, they can go and follow up.
Of course, and that is what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
And you probably have more hats that I have forgotten about, right?
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. That's not so good that you forgot about it. But David, great to see you. Thank you very much.
Morten, always good to see you too. Thank you.